Hello everyone, and I'm delighted to be here this afternoon to celebrate the Limerick launch of Pauline Fayne's 5th poetry collection, Sister of the Sorrows. As most of you know already, my name is Tom Collins. I'm the poetry editor at Revival Press, which is the poetry imprint of the Limerick Writers' Centre. Before we hear from the author herself, I just want to say a few words about what we do at the Limerick Writers' Centre. And as most of you know quite well at this stage, we mark the beginning of our story with the now legendary era of weekly readings in O'Connell Street in the early 2000s. This was a revival of an earlier tradition based on the Poetry Circle founded by Desmond O'Grady in the White House Bar in 1954. On top of poetry readings, creative writing workshops, competitions in both poetry and prose, and a variety of other projects, perhaps our biggest focus in recent years has been on our community publishing programme. We have been working quite hard to make a mark in the world of literature in Limerick City and beyond, bringing book ideas and writing to people of all ages since 2008, and including recent works of fiction under the new Savoy Editions banner. This evening we celebrate the Limerick launch of our 212th publication. We encourage all writers, whether you're pursuing a serious career or writing for fun, seeking healing or striving for personal growth. Our publishing philosophy centres on service rather than on any kind of self-promotion. In our programme, we focus on creating high-quality, short-run titles that anyone can pick up and enjoy. We believe literature should exist to enrich readers' lives, to promote understanding, and to foster connection and community. Our service-oriented approach guides all of our decisions, from manuscript selection to design choices to community engagement. Whether it's a poem, a novel, a memoir, a short story or a song, we think every creative endeavour is valuable and deserves to be shared, enjoyed and remembered through publication or performance. We have adopted the words of John Millington Synge as our motto, that poetry must have its roots in the clay and soil of our communities. So our goal is to make exciting literature more accessible, to celebrate the wisdom and lived experience of real people in Ireland today in their own words. We remind new writers and readers not to worry, that these are all skills you can learn, and with practice your inner artist will start to shine through. Modern poetry, of course, has its roots in ancient oral traditions, where bards often served as well as community storytellers, historians and spiritual guides. We recognise poetry's kinship with ritual and sacred practices across cultures. Like prayer or meditation, poetry offers a structured way to engage with deeper truths, to connect with ancestral wisdom, and even to transcend everyday consciousness. We value work that acknowledges this lineage and approaches writing as a practice with spiritual dimensions. Over the years, we've produced a wide range of work, from poetry and short stories to novels, histories, memoirs, and a variety of mixed prose. We are very proud that our books capture snapshots of living and evolving culture, and that they will last for many years to come as a record of events, people, places, feelings, and ideas. We also hope that this legacy will be passed on to future generations who will build on these foundations. We like to think of our books as talismans that will inspire further poetic creations. We believe as well that poetry and literature offer resistance against dehumanisation in all its forms, and this is a kind of resistance that cannot be colonised by authoritarian forces. Sometimes we look within ourselves, at our hometown, our nation, or at events with a global scope, and we see how they reflect on the human condition. The collected poems in this book, I think, are a superb exemplar of our values. In this book, we are taken on a journey through more than 50 pieces of wonderful poetry, beginning with the multiple layers of secrets and the truth to be found in exploring false memories. As Jean O'Brien puts it in her blurb, the author pays attention to the ordinary and makes it extraordinary. There is an interconnectedness here with other writers, remembering the likes of Michael Hartnett and Teri Murray, among others who have gone before us, as well as an engagement with challenging childhood memories, fear and deceit, interspersed with images of Dublin, as well as the shared humanity found in chance encounters with strangers on the Dart and the Lewis. To quote Bob Shakeshaft, this is a sublime, earthy, honest and very precious collection of poetry, a beautiful gift shared freely. So with all that said, on behalf of Revival Press and the Limerick Writers' Centre, Camilla Mohagat, Pauline, for choosing Revival Press as a home for your poetry. Thanks as usual to the People's Museum of Limerick for hosting the event here today, and a special thanks to the rest of the team at Limerick Writers' Centre, especially Catherine for her design work, Marion at the book table, and of course Pat for his ever fantastic photography. Thanks as well to all of you for coming here today. It really is fabulous to see so many familiar faces to support Pauline and her poetry. Congratulations, Pauline, on this fantastic collection.
Thanks all of you for coming today and for all the support. I always welcome here, and I feel that every time I come to read here, the welcome I get is that whether I'm with friends or whether I'm reading, it feels like my second home. Some of my Limerick friends are gone, but I carry their photographs with me in my poems and in my heart. The first one I'm going to read is The Poetries of Crumlin, because Teri Murray made her second home there. Her first home was in Crumlin, where we both grew up. We didn't meet until we were adults, but it took 2 years after that before we discovered we were nearly neighbours. And then we would not stop talking about our memories of the past and what it was like to be in Crumlin. And she felt that living in Limerick was quite similar in many ways. The Poetries of Crumlin. Childhood strangers, adult friends, we find a common ground in our childhood past. Speak of the turf depot's earthly smell, the piling of damp sods into shopping bags, old prams, and the willing arms of small children. Laugh at the convenience of the off-licence attached to the post office. Quick step from pension queue to counter for a snipe of Guinness or a baby brandy, small comfort against the creeping cold of daily life. Remember large families in small rooms and how we longed to share their Walton-style life. Glued white shirts flapping on long lines, overflow of clothes, flower bright on privet hedges, steam of stock pots and fresh baked bread obscuring kitchen windows from our jealous gaze, the shock of recognition in each other's words, the dream lives and perfect homes born between the pages of the books that sustained us, the same envied neighbours, the one need to belong. Now we return down quiet streets and empty lanes, point a polished lens at the freshly painted houses we once called home, raise a glass in bars where our fathers once found brief respite. Friend, we have built our lives and fantasies as well as we are able, scorched past hurts into level lines of words, and now must leave our memories in the cloying clay of our crumbling childhood. And this poem's for Kate Hennessy. Terry bought me one of Kate's paintings and sent it to me for my birthday one year. And one night Kate asked me where the picture was, and I said it was hanging above my desk as I worked. And have to tell you, Kate, she's made a journey around the house a few times now. She doesn't stick to being above the desk. Sometimes she's in the guest room. For a while she was in the kitchen, watching over everything. But she's still always been part of our home. The angel above my desk is wistful, glancing politely away from the piled pages, abandoned letters, and unframed photos scattered across the scratched wood below her. A friend, recognizing my daughter in her, carried her from artist studio to train and bus and tram and slow, careful walk to my kitchen, where I unwrapped her cautiously, brought her to every nook and corner of the house until she settled in this space. Sometimes in certain slants of light, she reveals my mother's indefinable searching gaze, mind trick conjured in blush pink paint. And I realise how artistry and ink, canvas and friendship can weld us together, artists, mothers, friends and daughters, united by a cherub on a light blue wall. And this one has a strange Limerick connection. It's about a friend of ours called Carol Carpenter, who never set foot in Limerick as far as I can remember. But Teri told this story to everybody about the goings on one night with Carol. And on the next time I came to Limerick, I was informed that 4 Limerick poets had written poems about the same event. And that's quite extraordinary. If any more about it, Mum, we could really do a booklet. And it's both sides of the glass. Through the frost-kissed window, a blackbird watches, his beak a split thorn, cutting the air with sharp notes of love. On the kitchen sill, a wooden Buddha smiles at my memory of a midnight picnic on a roundabout. Although I was miles away, deep in a warren of dreams, when you spread your blanket among council flowers and slowly released the sea scent of tuna into the suburban air, a sense portrait that sustains me in your absence. Now this is called Isolation 2018, and for anyone who thinks I may have been ignoring them or anything, I forget people and faces, and I managed to get lost on the way here. So I don't know Limerick as well as I thought I did anymore, but this is partly to explain my absences, more than one kind. Isolation 2018. At first, there are strangers in masks, interrupting the drama taking place around me. Oliver Twist appears and disappears from the dock beside my bedside locker, while the black cat of my childhood peeps from beneath the bed. When I hold an unfamiliar pen, my words are strays, sulky siblings lined up in the wrong order. Madame Bovary walks slowly down the corridor, waves a delicate lace glove outside the windowed door, ignores my pleas to go with her away from this place, and Nurse Virginia just winks when I ask how far it is to the lighthouse. 2 years on, spring days are still filled with discoveries. That the moon is visible in daytime leaves me transfixed at the window, and I wonder if my thoughts and words will ever fit carefully into lines again. A love poem, because what's it called to read without a love poem? Everyday love. On days when my memories are as hard to grasp as dusty coins down the back of the couch, when once loved songs become lyrics without sound, and blocks of years are blank page diaries, still I remember our first glance. The embarrassment of my school uniform, white knee socks slipping down skinny pale legs, and your tweed jacket, outrageous in a time of denim, leather or posh schoolboy blazers, and our first clumsy dance as we ignored the wink and nudge of friends. These certainties remain, that you know our children's ages, and I know they all have your kind eyes, that I will make lopsided chocolate cake for your birthday, and that you will bring toast and books to our bedside every day that I'm too tired or ill to rise. This poem is for Sheila Fitzpatrick, Yaltana. My friend follows the rituals of each month, knows the exact hour to spark the bonfire flames into life, the precise colours to braid into her wildflower bouquets, and how long to knead and to pray above the rising dough before kneeling to place it into the hottest part of the waiting oven. She offers me time to spend in her primrosed field, yet understands my reluctance to leave my walled and gated suburban garden, reads the truth in my silence when my boots stamp on unyielding stone instead of the grassy path she follows.
Oh, thank you, Pauline.
I'll just read two more and then you have to go and buy the book. That's of course if I can find them. But back to the index. Secrets. I wrote this. This is probably the third one I wrote on the theme, but the only one I kept. Because I got annoyed with people saying, well, that must be about you. If I change the gender of somebody so that I can write their secret, that's still not writing about me. So I decided to keep a little feel here. Secrets. We, the undertakers of secrets, bury whispered words in the guilt-laden lines of unfinished villanelles and silent sestinas. Your unsent letters become our longing haikus to would-be lovers, while that image of bloody steak, fresh from the butcher's hands, carefully placed between white bedsheets to simulate fertility, transforms a failing sonnet. And on another day, the vodka hidden in white lemonade on the high kitchen shelf, or the Polaroid porn found in the tightly bound leather volume of war poetry, may reveal themselves in the neat forms of future poems. And they are all other people's secrets that I stole to make the poem. And the person who owns the Polaroid porn is not here, thank God. Probably the most embarrassing thing I ever found in a book. I'm just going to finish with the title poem. which I wrote for my sister and then asked her if she minded that I'd written it in case that she found it a little upsetting. Sister of the sorrows, you arrived crying and patterned the rooms and nights with continuous demanding wails. Sarcastic siblings, we smiled behind our hands when we learnt your name was Deirdre. Born on a Wednesday to a house full of woe. Our father dying, our mother longing to leave with him. And then the day came. We were ordered to take you snugly wrapped in your pram for a long walk past the pig farms and the cranky neighbours and the happy smiling face of the woman with the red setter dog, its back broad enough to take all three of us for a ride. Yes, that was the day. Our brother pausing at each neighbour's greeting to make the announcement, our dad is dead. While silent anger boils and burns and rises because no one thought to tell me. But you, sister of the sorrows, would carry unnamed, unnameable joy into my cynical life with your wide child smiles and innocent belief that I could answer all questions. Where did the moon come from? It is God's football fallen from heaven. You alone accepted my every word as truth. Sister, sorrow is not your name. You were and always are the sun on my face.